All right, Marines, I want to let you know that I consider you to be my brothers. And I want to tell you why that is. First of all, it's because I grew up in the SEAL teams down in Coronado, and we came up here and worked with Marines all the time throughout my career. I did workups right here at Camp Pendleton, did hydrographic reconnaissance on Red Beach. Yeah, hiked up Las Pulgas Canyon, launched boats out of the Del Mar Boat Basin, get some. And working with the Marines back then, that's when I first learned about the professionalism and the expertise of the Marine Corps. But when the war started, I had the honor of seeing Marines in action, real action. Specifically for me, in the Battle of Ramadi in 2006, fighting alongside 3-8, 1-6, Anglico, I saw with my own eyes the glory that is the Marine Corps. Now, it was the 3-8 Marines, Lima Company, that showed us the ropes when we got to Ramadi. They taught us the tactics that they were using. They briefed us on how the enemy fought. They took us on patrols to familiarize us with the AO. We also learned from Kilo Company, that was down at the Gov Center, where they were fighting daily gun battles with insurgents. And there is no doubt that the lessons that we learned from those Marines made us more lethal and kept us alive. But it's not only what they taught us. On many occasions, Marines aggressively answered the call and provided QRF and fire support that crushed the enemy and got my SEALs out of some pretty rough spots. And we, in the SEAL teams, will never forget that. We also conducted countless operations with Anglico. We patrolled streets with them. We cleared buildings with them. We set up sniper overwatch positions with them. And they were outstanding Marines in every respect. But this was a tough deployment. Soldiers and Marines were wounded and killed in Ramadi every day. We were fighting against a demonic and determined enemy. An enemy with no rules of engagement, no respect for the civilian populace, and no value for human life. And one day, after some of my SEALs turned over a rooftop position to our Anglico brothers, one of those men, Corporal Chris Leon, who was a complete stud of a Marine, he was shot and killed by a single wretched enemy bullet. And Chris Leon was the first Anglico Marine that was killed in Iraq. And he died doing his duty, scanning for the enemy and protecting the troops on the streets below. And a short while later, on August 2nd, 2006, Mark Lee became the first SEAL killed in Iraq when he was hit by enemy machine gun fire while assaulting a building in South Ramadi. And later that evening, on August 2nd, we mustered at the airfield on Camp Ramadi to send Mark home on his final flight back to America. And when we got there, we discovered that he would not be alone on that journey. Because earlier that same morning, Corporal Joe Thompson, 4th Platoon, Lima Company, 3-8 Marines, one of the outstanding Marines who had taught us how to effectively fight this battle, he was killed by an IED while he was on patrol in North Ramadi. So, we, SEALs and Marine, together, bonded by blood as brothers, we stood side by side and loaded those two fallen warriors onto a Marine Corps CH-46 for their last flight home. And many more brave souls made the ultimate sacrifice on that brutal battlefield. And we will never forget them. And that is one of the reasons why I consider Marines to be my brothers. But there is another reason. And the other reason is actual brotherhood. Because you see, Mark Lee The first SEAL killed in Iraq, his brother, Chris Lee, he was a Marine. And Ryan Jobe, one of my other SEALs in Ramadi, who was shot in the face, was gravely wounded, and who later died of his wounds, his brother, Aaron Jobe, he was a Marine. And finally, Michael Mansour, another SEAL with us in Ramadi, who jumped on a grenade and sacrificed his life to save 3 of our other teammates, who was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor. Well, Mikey Mansour's father, George, was a Marine who served in Vietnam. And Mikey's 2 brothers, both of his brothers, Joe and Jim, they're also Marines. And that is why it is an honor to be here today. That is why it is an honor to call you all my brothers. And that is also why I know that despite all the people that fear the rise of evil in the world, despite all the people that are concerned about the future of freedom, and despite all the people that are concerned about the fate of our great nation, I can tell you this: I am not concerned at all, because I know that no matter what happens, there are some men, there are a few good men and women called Marines. And I know that you will never back down. I know that you will never surrender. I know that you will uphold the ideals of this blessed country. And I know that with fire and steel and sweat and blood, you, every one of you, will uphold the heroic ideals of the United States Marine Corps. And that's what I got, Devil Dogs. Happy birthday, guns up, Semper Fi!